Friday the 13th.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new Friday the 13th 4K. But before we do that, if you guys like Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, some game and some tech reviews along the way, then consider subscribing. That's the best way to help us out, and we do them all the time. So, jumping right in, I just want to state that I am a huge Friday the 13th fan. It is one of my favorite horror movies. If it's, it's the top three. You got Michael Myers, you got Jason, and you got Freddy. But I particularly like Jason a lot. I mean, even have the black box that's out of print and Scream Factory. I absolutely love Friday the 13th. And long story short, we live in Long Island, New York, not too far from where this was filmed in New Jersey. And my mother actually lives the town over. She lives in Columbia, New Jersey, where a lot of this was filmed in Blairstown and the surrounding area of New Jersey. And I've actually ate at the diner Mr. Christie was at, the owner of the camp. It's been renovated since, and it's much bigger, but my mom says, I've never been up there yet for these events, but around Friday the 13th, they do these big events in Blairstown, and there's hundreds of Jasons walking around the street. They have all sorts of merchandise, and my mom was saying there's some sort of museum or something up there. And me and John are we're going to try to go check it out within the next couple of weeks, maybe around Halloween time, where we're going to do a filming locations video for you guys, because it'd be pretty cool to go see then and now, and we'll compare all the screenshots. But enough about that, let's get into the movie review. Friday the 13th is probably one of the earlier horror movies that I've seen. I think the first horror movie I ever saw was Halloween, and that's still, I think, my favorite. I love Michael Myers. Halloween's probably my favorite, but this is a close, it's a toss-up between this and Freddy, because Freddy's awesome, but I think I enjoy these movies more, and they're more consistent as far as the amount of movies there is and how the movies play, because some of the Nightmare on Elm Street are a little... Anyway, so released in 1980, written by Victor Miller, and produced and directed by Sean S. Cunningham. He also helped out on a bunch of other movies at the time. I think he did some movies with Wes Craven. I saw his name pop up in something recently. I was like, oh shit. Actually, yeah, it was either The Last House on the Left or The Hills Have Eyes. One of the two of those Wes Craven movies. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. It's dated for now. Like, I just watched it again for the 4K review, and I can see that it is dated. But it's just such a great movie. It's so well done. They did it for cheap. There was a low budget. Tom Savini was the makeup and effects guy. So if you guys are familiar with horror, you know who Tom Savini is, and he is one of the greatest. And it shows. The one scene at the end where Alice cuts off Mrs. Voorhees' head, and you see the man hands come up. That's Tom Savini's hands. Because there was something he had to do something with the blood for the decapitation. I guess the actor, Betsy Palmer, who was playing Mrs. Voorhees, couldn't get it, or I don't remember the entire story. I saw it in a documentary where he's like, those are actually my hands, and it's just really funny because there's no way anyone can believe that those were her hands, because it's got hairy knuckles, and it's just so funny. That's probably like the worst part about this movie it's the worst part about the movie, Everything else is pretty well done, pretty believable. It's just a great ride. Kevin Bacon, this is, I believe, his first movie ever. He gets killed off pretty early in the movie, after he gets lucky, so I guess it's not the worst, but he broke the #1 rule. You can't have sex in a horror movie, and
now you gotta die. Those are the rules.
These are great movies. If you have the Shout Factory box set, you have them, or there's so many different collections, so they're so accessible these days, but they're just fantastic movies, and they're an icon. They're a horror icon. So I'm sure you guys know the plot of Friday the 13th. Mrs. Voorhees' son Jason drowned in the lake because the Count Camplers were making love and weren't watching him. So now she is basically not allowing anybody to reopen the camp because of this disaster. She doesn't want it to happen to anybody else, and she's just kind of bitter over her son dying. And I guess she's a little psychotic because she ends up killing everybody who tries to help reopen the camp. So in the first movie, Jason is not even the killer. Most people probably know that by now. But it is Mrs. Voorhees. And then Jason doesn't appear into the second one with the bag over his head. And he doesn't even get the hockey mask until the third movie. And that is the most iconic thing about the Friday the 13th movies. And this doesn't even appear until the third one. So the Count Scamplers are up.
God damn it, are you fucking with me?
They're 2 weeks before the kids come up, getting the camp ready because it's been closed forever, so they're getting everything ready for the kids to come. A big storm comes through, and they're taking shelter, and they're just doing what kids would do. Teenage kids alone in the woods in these cabins. They're all drinking, smoking, having a great time, and I would probably be doing the same thing. So Mrs. Voorhees ends up taking them out one by one, and then Alice is the final girl who ends up surviving, and that is basically Friday the 13th in a nutshell. It's more exciting than how I described it, but it's a fantastic movie. You have to check it out if you haven't seen it. Alright, so let's get to what you guys are here for. Let's talk about the new 4K release. So this is the new 4K release, came out Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, and the release is from Paramount. Last year, or 2020 maybe it was, Scream Factory did a full release of all 12 Friday the 13th movies. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have this, or some people have the elusive black tin box. This was the complete collection for a while, and it was out of print for a very, very long time. It still is out of print, and this was the last complete collection before Friday the 13th came out through Scream Factory. And that's because there's multiple studios, and it just makes these licensings to put out movies, put out Blu-rays of these movies, a total mess. I compared the new 4K to the Scream Factory Blu-ray. So the new release from Paramount, this is a very, very good looking 4K. I didn't really have high hopes for this for some reason. I didn't think that it would be something that they nailed, because Paramount's not terrible, I guess. Some of their stuff that's been coming out is fine, subpar. It's not something to write home about. But again, you got to remember the source material on Friday the 13th. It was shot low budget, and it was never a great looking movie. However, they did a fantastic job with this transfer. I'm not going to lie, it looked fantastic. The first 10 minutes of watching it, I texted John and I said, hey, this is a good looking 4K. I'm really not going to lie. Yeah, I was very surprised. Now, I compared it to the 4K scan that Shout Factory did. Now, this is a 4K scan, but downgraded to a 1080p Blu-ray. I think it's the same scan, I just think it went to a 4K disc, and this one stayed on a Blu-ray disc. So when Scream Factory did that box set, I'm not sure why they didn't go to 4K, because it's only a year or two old, and 4K is up and coming, and they've already had 4K releases. So we really wanted that whole box set on 4K, but the first, I think, 4 or 5 movies in there got new 4K scans onto Blu-ray. And these are fantastic looking Blu-rays from Scream Factory. Scream Factory always knocks it out of the park. They have some of the best scans out there, in my opinion. They're one of my favorite boutique labels. I compared it to the new release today. They are very, very close. Now, this has Dolby Vision, and this is just a regular Blu-ray, so there's no HDR on this. The Dolby Vision definitely helps. It clarity on a lot of scenes. You can tell the Dolby Vision is working. I would say it's 5 to 10% better than the 4K scanned Scream Factory Blu-ray. The Scream Factory Blu-ray had some dull scenes, and it was way more grainy. It had a lot more film grain. They didn't take the film grain out of this, but it's a little less. It's no Terminator 2. Don't worry about that. It still looks good. It looks great. The film grain's still there. It's just not as much. That I think it was a little excessive in the original on the Scream Factory Blu-ray. Again, that's still a fantastic looking scan, a fantastic looking Blu-ray. If you have the Scream Factory box set, it's such a small upgrade. I don't know if it's really worth the $20 yet. Maybe wait for it to go on sale. If you're a huge Friday the 13th fan like I am, then sure, go grab it, because the slipcover is not, it's the original box. I mean, it is even the same cover, it's the original cover. I have this hanging on my wall over there. But it's got the same audio track. It's got a DTS 5.1 master audio, And then for Dolby, it has the 2.0 mono track and then the director commentary. So there's no Dolby Atmos, no high-end Dolby track. It's just the 2.0 mono stereo, and the DTS 5.1 HD master is the superior track to listen to. Now, both of these discs both have the original and uncut version. It doesn't say it on the front, but when you load it up, you can select which version you want to play. So when you pop the slipcover off, you have the same thing on the inside, 4K. I think the black lip goes really good with that. There is a digital code this comes with, so keep that in mind. And then both versions of the movie are on the 4K disc, along with the special features. So you got the commentary with the director, Sean S. Cunningham, with the cast and crew. That's the uncut version only, and that's going to be one of your audio track selections. So I think the special features are a little bit stronger on the Scream Factory one, but there is some different ones on here. It's not an identical release. So in the Scream Factory one, the discs are separate. There's the theatrical and the uncut are separate. And remember, these are Blu-ray discs, so they don't hold as much memory as a 4K disc does. That's why they were able to fit both versions of the film on the 4K disc. So overall, I would probably give this release a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love Friday the 13th. I think the Dolby Vision really helps it out in some of those darker scenes. I watched them both back to back. I scanned through a bunch of different specific scenes, some dark scenes, some light scenes, some, just I wanted to get a good comparison. And the 4K does edge it out in pretty much every category. Well, in every category. It's got a little bit less film grain. It is slightly clearer in the dark scenes. The colors pop a little bit more. Overall, if you guys have the Scream Factory one, I don't know if I can say go spend the $20 on it, where you can go put your $20 towards something different. Because the Scream Factory set, this is gorgeous. This is a beautiful set. This is perfect. I wish every franchise would get that treatment. But again, it's still a great disc. If you have to have it, if you're a Friday the 13th fan, you're not going to be disappointed. It is a great looking 4K. The audio sounds fantastic, as it did on the other Blu-ray. It's reasonably priced. I think we paid $22 for it. I mean, yeah, it's Friday the 13th. It's a fantastic movie. You know what you're getting. I just think the Dolby Vision just edges it out just a hair, just enough to say it is an upgrade, because it is. And even the lighter scenes, the skin tone on the characters, it's just a tad bit better. But is it worth the upgrade? If you got the money, sure, go ahead, go get it. If you're a huge fan, go ahead, go get it. If you're just a collector, go ahead, go get it. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. I was on the fence. I was saying, if it's not really a big upgrade, I'm not going to keep it. But it's a big enough upgrade, and the slipcover is pretty nice. I like just the way they did it. It's just plain, it's simple. But all the other releases you get, you don't get this for some reason. They did have. This is a really, really old Blu-ray, and I just, it's just basic plain. It's different, but I like this original art. I have a poster of this on my wall, so I'm gonna hang on to this. I like it. I think it's worth the $20. Don't lose sleep over it, because if you don't have the Scream Factory box set and you have the old black tin or just a standalone Blu-ray that's not from a boutique label, I think the only thing that would stop you from this is if you have the Scream Factory box set and you just didn't want to add another loose one to your collection. So if you guys like this review, please consider liking the video, because that is one of the best ways you can help us out, and maybe sharing it with a friend. But until next time, guys, have a great day.